when I started studying nutrition and foods, what I was learning was more around proteins and calories and how do you balance your nutritional elements to make sure that you don't end up having any nutritional deficiencies in the body. So, which was a very quantitative way of understanding how foods work within us. So precisely, this is how actually we look at foods in today's times. It's about modern nutrition rather is about looking at foods, breaking it down in terms of understanding what nutrient that specific food has, and how many calories that food has, and how do we apply it. So precisely, the entire science of foods today has this entire focus on counting stuff. So, but when I got into yoga, I realized that the yogis actually eat a very different way. I mean, when it comes to health, a yogic person is way more healthier, whether it is your body health or mind health, and their way of eating is a little bit different. So, I really got that interest of actually delving deeper into what is the science behind understanding foods from the yogic perspective. So, broadly, if I have to put it, the yogic way of understanding foods is more about understanding the qualitative properties of foods rather than quantitative element of foods, which is more of a modern aspect of looking at foods today. And as I got deeper into this understanding, I realized that how looking at foods from the quantitative or modern perspective is such a narrow perspective of looking at foods. Of course, it does help us maintain our weight and does help us manage our health well. But if you really want to go to a level of mind-body health, then you really need to understand these concepts, how yoga puts it across. And if we try to go a little more deeper in terms of how looking at how Ayurveda understands foods, which is the most ancient life science that exists on on Earth, Ayurveda does not have this concept of proteins, calories, carbs, nutritional elements. Rather, Ayurveda has this concept of understanding tastes, understanding energies, specifically, the three different energies that a human a combination of three different energies that a human may have, which is the energy of vata, pitta, or kapha. And how do you apply those tastes? By understanding the qualitative aspect, which is more about understanding how that food is working within us. What kind of energy is it imparting us? Is it imparting a calming energy, or an aggressive energy, or a happy energy, or an energy which can really help us live to our best potential and help us achieve our goal? So, as I delved deeper into understanding the nutrition from the yogic perspective, I came across this very interesting concept, which is about human vibration. And then this human vibration, when we talk of human vibration, it is basically the frequency at which all humans operate. So there could be different frequencies depending, what kind of diet and lifestyle and thought process do we carry. But this aspect of frequency is also an inherent part of our foods. So, how an ancient yogi would look at foods is more from the vibration perspective. They are not bothered whether this food has these many proteins or these many calories. What they're bothered about is what kind of energy is it imparting. So, higher the vibration, higher the energy. To understand this idea a little better, we all have to agree on a common universal concept, which is that behind everything is energy. Like if I'm speaking right now, I'm consuming some part of my energy, or if I'm eating something, digestion is consuming some part of my energy. So this whole science is about how much energy do you have, how much energy do you expend in different processes that your body goes through, and how much do you save for your healing purposes. So when you start to actually save your energy for healing is where you are very sound at the mind body level, and the concept of physicality comes later. So if your energy is disturbed at the subtle level, what starts to manifest on top of it is the physical conditions, like chronic health disorders, anything from say cold or a cancer or anything in between. Yogic thought on foods was very clear. It's all about vibration, is how yogic science looks at it. And so this science also indicates that if you really want to live at the best potential, whether it be you looking and feeling at your best capacity, or you have this mental power to be able to achieve what you want to achieve, and then you live at the peak of your health and at any age, then you need to keep your vibrations really high. And so now, the upper part of the body, specifically the heart and brain, are the centers of higher vibration. If you carry really higher vibrations in the body, is where your thinking capacity is at the peak, or maybe by heart you are a very giving, empathetic, or a compassionate kind of a person. So understanding our life and our foods and our lifestyle in a way so that we are not expending energy on mundane tasks is how yoga would look at foods. So coming on to the physicality of things, what is it that consumes our most energy? about 70% of our energy is consumed by our digestion, which is huge amount of energy getting into digestion. And why is it happening so? Because the kind of food choices that we are making, the kind of digestive health that we carry, whatever energy your body is generating out of the foods that you're consuming, about 70% of that energy is getting back into digestion. That tends to, ends up making you feel fatigued, tired, and you're not wanting to do a lot of things, or maybe you don't have much capacity to think or achieve what you really want to achieve. So all these processed foods, refined foods, heavy fatty foods, these are all causing our digestion to work extra, which is consuming all that energy, and which is kind of stopping us from achieving various other things that we would really want to do, because we end up eating and then we end up expending the same energy on digestion. So, beyond this concept of proteins and calories and counting stuff, when we actually start to relate to our energy, for example, how do you feel when you consume a specific kind of a food? When you start to get to the roots of this aspect, is where you actually build a very sound foundation for the best potential that you can ever carry. And at the physical level, this is where you can actually relate to your vibration. If your foods make you feel dull, low, aggressive, then you are on the lower side of the vibration. When your foods make you feel happy, joyous, and you really want to, you have enough energy to go ahead and do really what you would like to do, is where you are more on the upper higher vibration mode. So from the vibration perspective, there could be three different kinds of energies that your foods and lifestyle may end up giving you. It could be elevating energy, it could be an activating energy, or it could be a darkening energy. Elevating vibration can be something like specific feelings of happiness, joy, higher consciousness, and you really achieving what operating at your best potential. You have all that concentration, focus, and your direction, your purpose of life, is where you are operating at an elevating vibration level. So next to the elevated vibration or frequency is the activating vibration or frequency. This is more about aggression, more about having a rush of energy, and in a spur of moment that you do the activity, when you have loads of energy and you just expend it. So this is the energy where you end up doing, rather you end up overdoing or overthinking or saturating yourself enough so that you're not spared with energy for other tasks. Lowest energy that we don't want to carry within us, but unfortunately it's at different degrees. This is the third kind of energy, is what we are living at the vibration level, which is the energy, the darkening energy, or the dull energy, or the energy of inertia, or energy where you lack much energy, or you feel fatigued or tiredness. So we are mostly living at the level of this third kind of energy, which is the darkening energy, which symbolizes the angle of inertia or laziness, or not wanting to do things, or not having enough energy to go ahead and work, or whatever, just being a couch potato and not being able to just move around and do things. And this energy is related to low moods, depression, all kinds of mental and emotional issues, you not feeling a sense of balance, and a lot of emotional mental issues that come up. So at the physical level, it is the elevating energy that will keep you at the peak of your health, which means when you are at a state of elevating or balanced energy, is where your hormones are functioning fine, is where your nervous system is functioning fine, is where digestive system is functioning fine, is where you have a clear thought and direction for life, is where you will not be suffering from any kind of health concerns. And at the level of this kind of energy, the homeostasis processes, or the processes of balance inside the body, work really well, which means you will not end up having any kind of deficiencies that generally are happening in today's time. This level of energy, your vitality will be much maintained, your immunity will be much maintained. So being in a state of high vibration level, or an elevating level, is where you actually steer clear of any kind of health concerns that can be a part of you now or later in life. So next to elevating energy, the activating energy is again much required, because without that energy we'll not be able to move and do things. But the problem with this kind of energy is it consumes a lot of you. I mean, it would be a rush of energy, and that energy depends, where do you redirect it? You redirect it towards aggression, or you redirect it towards achieving something, and put in all your energies in one go. And it's something like, emptying out a bucket. Like you have a big quota of energy and you just pour it out all, and then you're left with nothing. So the problem with activating energy is that though you have much and you have a choice to direct it in the right direction, but you do not you're not left with any extra energy once you over consume it or overuse it. So energy of overthinking, energy of overdoing is this activating kind of an energy. And it is under this state of energy that you start to build up a lot of health concerns. So with too much of activating energy, ultimately you will oversaturate yourself, is where the burnout is going to happen, is where your stress levels are going to be really high in terms of you starting to see the impact in your the physical manifestations of stress, where hormonal imbalances start to happen, where nervous disorders start to happen, where all other health conditions start to crop up. And the impact of darkening energy is the worst. So darkening energy is where you are at the bottommost level of your vibration, and it is now being proven in researches in the energy medicine field, where they are actually proving what kind of vibration do you carry. So a human body is supposed to carry a vibration of about 7.5 megahertz, which is where you are at the peak of yourself, whether it be your beauty, your health, your vitality, or your health state, whatever. And when your vibration starts to go low, somewhere around 50 or below, that is where you carry chronic conditions. And the physical manifestation of this darkening energy is all chronic health conditions, anything ranging from diabetes to heart disease to arthritis to cancer to mental and emotional issues, Parkinson's. So now that means for a person with an elevating positive kind of an energy, health comes complementary. Like you don't have to specifically work on maintaining your weight or specifically work on maintaining your health. It is an automatic outcome of keeping your vibrations really high. So then the question is, how do we go ahead and raise our vibrations? So this aspect of raising vibrations is all about you. It's all about your physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual self, all of it coming together as a package to make sure that your energy is at the top level. Because remember, everything is energy. Your physicality is energy, your mental and emotional condition is energy, and your spirituality also is energy. So the very first step at the physical level to keep your vibration really high is starting to think beyond proteins and calories. The concept of protein and calories is a very superficial or outer layer concept. There is so much that's going on within when it comes to energy. So that's the very first thing. The second thing that you can do is you can make sure that your digestion is functioning really well if you really want to keep your vibrations high, because digestive system is the system from where you extract that high vibration or energy from the foods that you consume. So making sure that your foods, your cooking styles, your state of your digestion is really at the peak level, so that you don't end up consuming extra energy on digestion. That's where you save your energy for healing. And what really matters is consuming foods which are not saturating your energy. So refined foods, processed foods, flour-based foods, high fatty foods, all these kinds of foods really saturate a lot of our energy. So that 70% of energy that I just mentioned a few minutes back, all these kinds of energy end up consuming about most of your energy that you can utilize in other areas of your interest. So from the body work perspective, doing yogic practices, making sure that you work daily on detoxifying your body using certain yogic practices like twists, and working on circulatory practices like Surya Namaskar, and doing pranayam practices to make sure your breath movement is in and out, which also regulates the functioning of the lungs and the digestive system, will make sure that you're pushing out those toxins which really bring down our vibration level. And then letting the stress go is a very big step when it comes to keeping your vibrations really up. The more you are under the stress mode or a negative thought, constantly you are pushing that energy to go down. And then one aspect that I've really noticed that happens to a lot of us: don't sit idle. Either do something, or think of doing something creative, or spend your time in doing something that really gives you peace of mind, happiness, and helps you pursue your creative aspect, because that's where you're elevating your vibrations. The more you're sitting idle, the more you're not doing anything, the more you're spending time just lazing around, is where you're expending a lot of your positive energy or bringing your vibrations down.